All right, welcome back to ABA exam review and the continuation of our BCBA practice questions series. We're going through another set of questions together and breaking them down. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're turning, welcome back. Please like and subscribe. Check out behavioranalyst.study.com for all of our study materials, including our combo pack. As always, when you pass, let us know so we can include you in the Sunday shout out. Work hard, study hard. Let's get going. Theodore has all but mastered a task analysis aimed at Theodore's ability to get ready for bed at night without help. Although Theodore can do this routine mostly independently and has mastered the essential steps, if something changes during his routine, Theodore will struggle to complete the routine. What strategy would be best to help with Theodore's problem? So we have a strategy question. We're picking an intervention, we're picking a strategy. And as with any question on the exam, we're only going to use the information given. The question wants to know about the strategy related to Theodore's problem. What do we know so far about Theodore's problem? Well, he mastered a task analysis, or all but mastered a task analysis. The goal was to get ready for bed at night without help. He can do the routine mostly independently. He's mastered the essential steps, but importantly, if something changes during the routine, Theodore will struggle to complete the routine. This question is a good example of a question where everything matters. It's why we spend so much time on the question itself. We haven't even thought about the answer choices yet. Our goal is to get to the point where we're predicting the answer. So if Theodore's mastered this task analysis or almost mastered the task analysis, all the essential steps, but struggles if something changes during the routine, what would be best to help with Theodore's problem? A, forward chaining. So forward chaining could be effective, but is it really the best way to help with Theodore's problem? He's almost already mastered the task analysis, so forward chaining doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You're basically starting from square one. He's already mastered the task analysis essentially. The issue is he struggles to complete the routine if something changes. So B, functional communication training. Well, remember, we want Theodore to do this without help. So we don't want to teach him how to ask for help in this particular task analysis or teach him to functionally communicate. It's supposed to be independent. So B might not meet our goal. What about C, total task chaining? Total task chaining might not be bad. It's better than forward chaining because at least with total task chaining, we're only teaching the essential steps. Remember, with total task chaining, you're teaching the entire chain all at once. So total task chaining isn't bad. Let's read all of our answer choices. What about D? Behavior chain interruption strategy. D is going to be our best solution. Why? Well, D is exactly what we need for this issue. The issue is if something changes during the routine, in other words, if something changes during the task analysis, Theodore messes up. The whole idea behind the behavior chain interruption strategy is to prepare learners for changes in the task analysis. So with the behavior chain interruption strategy, what we're going to do is we're going to change steps in the task analysis, or we're going to interrupt the chain in one way or another in hopes of evoking new behaviors. So if Theodore has all but mastered the essential steps and struggles if something changes, then a behavior chain interruption strategy seems like the best strategy to help with this problem. Baseline begins for a multiple baseline design with 3 participants with the goal of decreasing aggression. The researchers take data for a week and then plot the data on a line graph. Participant 1 has variable data with a downward trend. Participant 2 has variable data with no trend. And participant 3 has variable data with an upward trend. Who should receive intervention first if intervention had to start today? So you could graph this if you want. I don't think you need to, but if you want to, feel free to go ahead. Question is asking about who's receiving the intervention first if the intervention had to start today. So they're not saying let's wait. They're saying if intervention started today. So what do we know so far? Well, we're in a multiple baseline design. And with the multiple baseline design, when you're trying to decide what baseline gets intervention first, you're typically looking for steady state strategy. So you're looking for the baseline that's the most steady. If that isn't the case, then you're going to look for a baseline that's going the opposite way of your goal. So just like any baseline. In this case, our goal is to decrease aggression. So we are looking for what? Well, we want to start baseline where either the data is steady or increasing. Because if it's increasing, that means it's going the opposite way. So participant one has a downward trend. Now, as with any baseline, if your baseline is already going the direction you want, then you're better off letting it continue unless something changes. What about participant two? They have no trend. Okay, so they're steady. What about participant three? They have an upward trend. So given the fact that participant two is no trend, they're variable but relatively steady. Participant three has an upward trend. We're going to start with who? We're going to start with participant three because they've got the upward trend. The behavior is actually getting worse. Now, if you have a multiple baseline design where all three participants, in this case, all the data looks the same, then you can randomize where you start. It doesn't make a difference. But when you have baselines that all look different, and your goal is to decrease aggression, and you have a baseline that's actually going the opposite way, then you're going to want to start with the baseline that's going the opposite of your goal. Napoleon delivers one-on-one services to a 10-year-old boy with a developmental disability. The boy learns quickly and is often compliant, but will often pick the rightmost stimulus when presented with multiple stimuli at a time. The presumed function is escape. If Napoleon wants to conduct a preference assessment, which assessment should likely be attempted first? All right, so we have a preference assessment question. Napoleon wants to conduct a preference assessment with the 10-year-old boy. And what do we know about the 10-year-old boy? Well, he learns quickly, he's compliant, but he often picks the rightmost stimulus when presented with multiple stimuli at a time. As soon as you read that, if you're fluent, I think you can start predicting the answer now. Because if we have a preference assessment, think about our different types. Single stimulus, we have a paired choice or a forced choice, and then we have multiple stimulus. In a paired choice and a multiple stimulus, we're delivering or offering multiple stimuli at a time. The single stimulus, we're only giving one stimulus at a time. In this case, if this boy is prone to picking the rightmost stimulus, then if we give him B, a paired choice, or C or D, multiple stimulus, we're going to be very open to positional bias, meaning our data may not be as accurate as we would like because this particular boy is only picking the rightmost stimulus. So to prevent positional bias and preference assessments, we usually want to try out a single stimulus first. Now, can you still run a paired choice and multiple stimulus? You can. You just got to be very careful about what that data looks like. You need to be very aware of the fact that he's picking the rightmost stimulus. But likely, you would start with a single stimulus, see what it produces. If you need to go further, then maybe you try multiple stimulus assessments while keeping in mind that this particular boy does have a positional bias. So when evaluating your assessments, when evaluating your strategies, you need to keep all these things in mind. The difficult part about the exam is not the fluency because you should be fluent 100%, non-negotiable. Difficult part is taking each individual fluency term and then analyzing these situations and deciding, okay, what's the ultimate goal? The ultimate goal here is to prevent positional bias, the rightmost stimulus. And then once you get to that point, then it's easy because the one where you're going to prevent positional bias is A. That's where you need to start getting as you're preparing for your exam. If your goal is to increase the duration of a behavior, which of the following measurement would likely be the best to use? Our goal is what? Our goal is to increase duration. So we need to pick a measurement. Remember, we pick goals and then we pick measurements. Our measurements should reflect our goals. Our goal is to increase. So we need a measurement where we can increase duration. How about A, whole interval? With whole interval, what would that look like? Whenever you get, let's say, an interval question or a discontinuous measurement question, in your head, pick an interval. So I picked 10 seconds. I think 10 seconds is easy to conceptualize. Our interval is 10 seconds. For whole interval, that behavior needs to happen for 10 seconds to count. Partial interval for 10 seconds, that behavior only needs to happen for 1 second, a split second to count. What's going to be better at increasing duration? If the requirement is that the behavior happens for 10 seconds or for only 1 second? Well, of course, 10 seconds. So A is going to be better than B if we're trying to increase duration. And what about C and D, momentary time sampling and play check? Well, play check or planned activity check is just the group version of momentary time sampling. And with momentary time sampling and play check, we're only looking at the very end of each interval. So again, we're only watching the behavior for a split second. Not really going to help us with duration because we don't know how long the behavior is lasting. We're simply looking at a split second in time. So given that our goal is to increase the duration of a behavior, the measurement most likely that we're going to use, or what would be best to use, is a whole interval. Oliver receives $100 for Christmas from his favorite uncle, but Oliver does not seem too excited. Oliver's uncle asks Oliver if he likes the gift, and Oliver says, "What do I do with this?" What likely has not occurred yet relative to Oliver's reaction? I think a question like this, when we talk about money and Oliver or a learner not understanding what they do with money, is the best way to describe or explain pairing to somebody. When we talk about secondary or conditioned reinforcers, we typically think praise, tokens, and then money. Money is universal, but money only holds value once it's paired with backup reinforcers. If you gave somebody, me, Canadian money, I would understand it has value, but I would have no idea how much. Because I don't know. I've never used Canadian money. I don't know the value of Canadian money. I would have to first go spend it and start pairing it with items for it to become more reinforcing. Oliver gets the $100, isn't excited, and then says, "What do I do with this?" He's not sure what to do with the $100 bill, even though we would think somebody would go crazy for $100 at Christmas. So, what likely has not occurred yet? A, Oliver is uninterested in buying things. Does it indicate anywhere Oliver is uninterested in buying things? No. A is a massive, massive assumption. B, money has not been paired with backup reinforcers. Remember, we want to be parsimonious, which means the simplest explanation first. And if you're being parsimonious, the simplest explanation for someone getting $100 and say, "What do I do with this?" would be to say, "Well, that money's not yet paired with backup reinforcers. Oliver hasn't spent it yet." C, Oliver does not know how to count. Again, nowhere in the question does it indicate Oliver needs to count or that he doesn't know how to count or counting is involved at all. And then D, Oliver does not understand the concept of gifts. Well, we don't get any indication he doesn't understand the concept of gifts either. So, given the very limited information, we want to be parsimonious. And being parsimonious, what likely has not occurred yet relative to Oliver's reaction is that this money has yet to be paired with backup reinforcers. You, a behavior analyst, are at your company's end of the year party. You're chatting with a couple of your technicians who tell you that one of the new technicians has been texting their friends during service hours with the client while letting the client either sleep or play by themselves. What should you do first as the analyst? This is kind of a mixture between a personal management and an ethics question. First rule in ethics is you always try to resolve the issue first, unless someone's harmed, of course. But you always want to try to resolve the issue first. With personnel management, you always want to, just like a client, take direct measurement. You want to see for yourself. All we know right now is you have these technicians giving you indirect information on this new technician. That could be for a million reasons. Who knows why? They're telling you they're texting their friends while letting the client sleep or play by themselves. Obviously, not what you want to hear, but again, it's all indirect. Think about when you interview a parent. They give you a lot of indirect information, and they probably have the best interest in mind. They may even believe that everything they're saying is true, but we know our memories and our observations can sometimes fail us. So before you take any action, what do we need to do first? What's the best course of action? A, report the technician to the board. You have no proof, you have no direct observation. When you think personnel management, think about your clients. Would you ever write a treatment plan without direct measurement or direct observation? Absolutely not. You need to do that first, or at least you need to go to the source first. Even indirect information from the source is better than what you have now. B, discreetly observe the new technician during the workday to try and see if she's engaging in the behavior. Do we ever discreetly observe anybody? By discreetly, we mean do we try to hide the fact we're observing or conceal the fact? No, that is not good practice. You never, ever want to hide the fact that you're observing. You always want to let them know. That is just best practice. C, ask the new technician about what the other technicians told you. This is the best approach. You're communicating. You are trying to resolve the situation the best way possible first. And you're being behavior analytic because you're going straight to the source. B, if you were just going to observe the new technician during the workday, would be fine. But we don't discreetly observe. We have to be very open about our observation. That's the ethical way to manage. And then D, fire the new technician for client neglect. Again, we don't know yet. We need to get more information. So you need to start by asking the new technician about what the other technicians told you. Thank you for watching. Happy holidays. As always, check out behavioranalyststudy.com for all of our study materials. When you pass your exam, let us know so we can include you in the Sunday shout out. Work hard, study hard. We'll see you soon.